Many of us here have studied the Dharma of the Buddha, or the wisdom of universal teachings. And no matter how much, there's always people that will question some of the teachings, just because that's just how people are. Are the teachings real? Is this really going to happen? Is there truth in it? You can't help but sometimes doubt things, just because these things aren't always easy to measure and to see. But it is true. We have to see that the teachings of the Buddha is real, and that there is truth behind it, and that the Buddha did truly exist. It's as easy as you do good, you get good, you do bad, you get bad. That is real, that is a truth, and that is logical. But no matter what, these are things that we can't always prove, so it's hard to measure. So the Venerable talked about even the method during the Buddha's time of spreading the Dharma. There are different methods to teach the Dharma, but yet it's not, even till today's standard, you can't always know if the teachings are real or not, or valid or not, because unlike things that are tangible, you can't see it. This is intangible when it comes to good deeds and just the way that you live your life. But know this, you do good, you get good, you do bad, you get bad. And even the Buddha's existence, did he really even exist? So the Venerable compared it like this. This is the proof. You know that you're here, and you know that you have a mother and a father. You know that your mother and your father had a mother and a father, which are your grandparents. And yet your grandparents had a mother and a father too, which would be your great-great-grandparents. Now, did they all exist? Do you know that they all existed? Well, of course they did, because you're here. So this is the lineage. This is what you see. Very similar to even our monastic community. Their lineage is in Buddhism, which could predate all the way back to the Buddha. So that's kind of a similar logic. Another thing that the Venerable talked about is, if you look at today right now, is today real? And everyone said yes. Is tomorrow real? Everyone said yes. And then yesterday, was that real? And everyone said yes. Now, could you see tomorrow? Actually, you can't. But do you know that tomorrow exists? And everyone said yes. That's very similar to our life in this point in time. Our existence in this point in time. Is this real? Are we really here? Yes. What about the afterlife? What about next life? It's a similar understanding to realize that this does exist as well, and this is how you can realize it, is by just comparing it to what you can see right now. So is the Buddha real? The question is yes. And his teachings 2,600 years ago is still just as relevant then as it is today, and is just as simple as do good, get good, do bad, get bad. That in itself, as long as you can see that, that's his teaching. That generosity yields results. What are the results of generosity? Well, it's whatever you're giving, you're going to get. And here, when we come on Sundays to offer our monastic community food and water, the results of that is longevity for us, strength, happiness, and wisdom. Wisdom because we're giving food and water to our monastic community, and they in return use it to cultivate themselves. So that gives us back those same results. So this in itself is something that we can see and we can feel good about when we do our acts of good deeds. But yet there's also a opposite as well. So in the afternoon, the Venerable mentioned that we're going to be releasing fish, which is another form of good deeds. The same thing, when you release fish, what are you getting in return? Well, you're giving long life to a fish that would have gotten killed, and freedom as well. So these things will be returned to you. But what about if you killed that fish? Well, if you killed that fish, you then miss a precept. And that's why sometimes those people who have missed precepts and they just don't know it, sometimes that's the reasons why their life is shortened, is because of missing the first precepts. So this right here, when you just understand the teachings and you can kind of apply it to real life, you just see the results of it, and it just makes you even more convinced in the faith of the teachings of the Buddha. So is the Buddha real? The Venerable says yes. Is the teaching real? The Venerable says look around and you'll see it, because it's all around us and it's the truth. That does not change no matter how long it takes. So the Venerable just wanted to finish with a couple things with regards to just cultivating good deeds. Something that the Buddha said is that it's very difficult to be born a human being. If you look at everything around us, you'll see that this is true. If you compare it to other realms that we can actually see, such as the animal realm, that it's not easy to be born a human. But if you are born a human, take advantage of this time to cultivate yourself. Utilize this time to build wisdom for yourself. Utilize this time to do good for yourself, which is very universal no matter what your faith is. That the things that we must do every day is acts of generosity, morality, which are the 5 precepts that we initiate on Sundays, and meditation. This is what it means to be a human being. This is what we should be cultivating for ourselves, because our actions are the only things that we can take with us. So at this time, I turn it back over to the Venerables who will give us blessings.